This is South Africa. The country sits on the southern tip of the African continent between the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. South Africa is almost twice the size of Texas. It borders 5 nations: Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Swaziland. It also surrounds the tiny country of Lesotho. It is also a place where a social, political, and economic system called apartheid kept white people separate from non-white people. Many white South Africans had been separated from non-whites since 1910, when the country won its independence from Great Britain. But this separation wasn't made legal until 1948, when the all-white South African government voted to support and enforce apartheid. Apartheid laws allowed whites to get top positions in government, as well as good jobs, nice homes, and a high standard of living. But people of African, Asian, and multiracial descent had a lower standard of living and were treated as foreigners in their own country. The apartheid law segregated schools, restaurants, movie theaters, and all other public facilities by race. Non-white South Africans were not allowed to vote or participate in politics. Millions were even forced to live in segregated areas and even relocated to places in distant parts of the country called reserves or homelands. KwaZulu, Ciskei, and Vinda were self-governing reserves. But erosion and poor quality soil made farming the lands difficult. The reserves could not support the people who lived there. Beginning in the 1950s and early 1960s, Nelson Mandela and members of the African National Congress protested against apartheid. Mandela was put in jail for 27 years because he resisted apartheid. During this time, his popularity grew around the world and millions of people protested to demand his freedom. In 1990, protests against apartheid by governments, businesses, and people around the world and within South Africa itself finally forced South Africa's president to demand Nelson Mandela's release from prison and the end of apartheid. Nelson Mandela was elected president of South Africa in 1994, and his government worked to give equal rights to Africans of all races.
Let us forget the past. Let us now work together to make this country a great country.
Since then, many Africans who had been forced to live on reserves and work in low-paying jobs have returned to the cities. They have found jobs as police officers, government administrators, and civil servants. Non-whites have also had access to higher education, opportunities in law, medicine, and business. Equal education, health care, and opportunities for a better life are now available to all South Africans by law. But many people in South Africa are unemployed, and a large number of non-whites continue to live in poverty. Apartheid is a thing of the past, and the changing face of the nation assures South Africa a bright future. How was apartheid harmful to South Africa?